Our next speaker needs no introduction, Olena Tkacheva. Olena is leading the merchant experience in Magento from a product management side. She drives CMS modernization, and the key focus of her work is to enable merchants to effortlessly create best-in-class customer experience. Without any further ado, please welcome Olena.
Hey guys, I'm really happy to be part of this conference. COVID changed the world that we live in, and it's really funny, really funny for me to be in a conference in UK from my office down the building where I live. So anyway, I'm really happy to be part of that event. And the talk that I'm gonna do today is about headless commerce with Magento PWA. So PWA is obviously such a trendy thing that appeared like over 5 years ago, and the meaning of that transitioned and changed quite a while. And I'm sure we don't need to talk about what PWA is in general. You're all aware about that. So I'm gonna talk more about what is the vision on headless commerce and PWA from Adobe perspective, why we are doing PWA, and what the ultimate goal of the new generation storefront is. Since the connection might be unstable, I will switch off my video to make sure that you can hear me clearly, and continue with my slides. I hope you can still see them. Within past several years, we had an opportunity to observe the continuous trend of more and more shoppers doing online shopping from their mobile devices. And during the last holiday season, the data here shows that it was more than 50% online spend done through the mobile devices. And at the same time, I'm sure you all have the experience that yourself when you were shopping online, that the experiences on websites from the mobile devices are not quite up to the standards that you can experience from the desktop devices. So sometimes it's just like lagging behind, and it doesn't use all of the opportunities that mobile devices offer. And that results in a conversion gap that shows like the conversion on mobile devices like 30%, and in some cases 50% lower than across all the devices. So that shows that basically millions of dollars left on the table just because of that unoptimized user experiences on mobile devices. And in Adobe, we recognize that trend, and observing this, we see the need for the storefront modernization that responds to that trend of growing number of mobile shoppers and more shopping happening online. So the merchants can actually deliver the native app-like experiences that delight their customers, and customers can enjoy shopping on the website regardless the device they're using. And PWA technology enables to combine the best of the two worlds of responsive web design, where the code base is shared across platforms, and native app, smooth and seamless user experience without the overhead of creating separate code base for each of the platform. So essentially what we're solving with the PWA storefront is that experiential aspect. We're trying to address that conversion gap that exists because of the poor user experience. And we already made significant progress with the earlier launches with PWA Studio. Improvements in the conversion rate is going up to 85%. And I'm going to talk more about this in recent case studies that we've done later in the slides. And investing basically in PWA, we invest in a future state of storefront. There's going to be a replacement for the traditional responsive web design storefront that you know with Magento as Luma. And it's more just a technology shift. It's an evolution from the traditional storefront to decoupled and then to headless by means of tools like PWA Studio, Venia Storefront, and new brand new B2B storefront that we're gonna release next year with the name of Oasis. So what we are doing was also recognized by analysts, not only just merchants, and we got attention from Forrester, who see our investment in PWA Studio and GraphQL as an ease for the development for the storefront experiences, and Gartner has called out that our PWA Studio is positioned to reduce cost and complexity of adopting PWAs. So if we step back and take a look where we started as a coupled monolith system built with PHP, UI components, PHTML, templates, where storefront is quite significantly coupled with the backend, and any updates to the storefront required full redeploy both storefront and backend. That essentially significantly slow down any kind of growth and development. And from that, we moved to decoupled state, where we are now with the Venia separated from Magento backend and use the GraphQL to exchange the data. And in this decoupled state, we enable merchants to make updates to the storefront without touching and updating the backend. And we already see that this is something that streamlines store launches and allows merchants to start small and grow over time with the Venia components that we deliver. So unlike the traditional storefront where like you have all or nothing, with the PWA storefront, there is an opportunity to use only components that are in need for the particular business. And ultimately, we are going to the headless state, where Venia is completely decoupled and becomes a default storefront, and GraphQL is another separate layer. And with this approach and off-the-shelf technologies, you can still work with the familiar backend in the way that you all get used to, but have an opportunity to build and extend in the new areas like GraphQL, storefront and self and services around content and commerce. And what we are doing here and our vision is not something that we invented. It's not unique to Adobe Commerce. This is something that is shown as like a general trend where the market goes. So with the composable commerce, where commerce is just a component along other services and that are packaged together in a way that business requires. So only those components that are in need go together in a package. So this vision of composable commerce is recognized and well defined by Gartner analysts. They convinced that single platform that is designed to orchestrate experiences is an optimal solution for supporting seamless cycle of customer journeys beyond just commerce. As being part of Adobe, well-recognized leader in experience space, this enables us to execute upon this composable commerce vision and deliver a native front-end solution for you to create immersive, rich, engaging experiences that are well designed and context aware and seamless across the channels and secure. And this vision is already implemented in a couple of recent launches that I want to share. Just to kind of demonstrate the opportunities that composable commerce offer. So Tiva.com is an AEM web shop that used PWA Studio components to add a shoppable experience to their website. So essentially, it's only a shopping cart used on that website. And the same with the Buffalo Trace. They just integrated with Magento behind the scene of AEM store. And with the composable commerce, you don't need to, like with the traditional storefront, start with like all or nothing. You can choose the components that make sense and add more over time and grow over time when the business needs that. And this is the approach that very unique to the headless, and only with the headless approach you can achieve such flexibility. So when you hear us at Adobe talking about Magento PWA, we essentially mean 4 different work streams that we started define more explicitly. So the first is like obviously is the storefront itself, where Vania is a next generation B2C storefront that will replace Luma over time, and B2B equivalent of Vania is going to be Oasis that we're going to focus on next year. That if you're familiar with the B2B reference store that exists right now on Brandmail, we're going to go further with Oasis, and instead of just having a reference storefront, we're going to introduce a turnkey, ready-to-go solution for B2B customers next year. And by the end of this year, we're going to be complete with the B2B and B2C scenarios, and invest in further streamlining designer developer workflow. We're introducing UI kit with the XD format that later, we integrate with the Venia theme and enable programmatic and easy updates from the XD files directly to the theme. Content and authoring is a piece that makes PWA friendlier to the business users and enables them to manage experiences at the point of their need. So page builder integration is like the obvious thing that existed in the PWA area for over a year, and we are not gonna stop there. On the roadmap, we have further integration with the content and authoring that Magento has to offer with the targeted content to the customer segments, and further improvements in the area, in the content area with their integration to the AEM. So a couple of weeks ago, we announced the integration between AEM and PWA Studio with the use of content fragments that are designed in AEM and can be delivered to the Magento PWA Storefront with the GraphQL. And this is something that brings us forward with the composable commerce vision. And last but not least, the infrastructure piece. We continue our progress into the next generation cloud to deliver a seamless and optimized experience that you would expect from the first-party solution. So since 2018, the product adoption of PWA Studio and our Venia storefront has grown from like small launches to large and more complex that integrate much more advanced business requirements. Currently, we track over 100 production stores using the build with, and there are other 100 that are either in the process of development or in a demo mode, and this number is continuously growing. Number of extensions that support Magento PWA on a third-party marketplaces is also growing. So now we see 30 plus extensions that work with PWA from major vendors like Amnesty. And we are proud to see that our community is quite strong, and we're doing our best to enable like newcomers who just join PWA initiative to kind of streamline and ease their transition to new technology. We host weekly community calls where we share product updates and architectural decisions, and actually the one we're gonna have in a couple of hours today. We also have a community Slack channel that the entire PWA core team is part of, and any questions that community members have about the Magento PWA, we are trying to answer in a timely manner, so that we see that like our effort pays off, and we have over 2,500 active members in community, and there are 200 plus contributors to the PWA GitHub. And we encourage more and more people to join that initiative and contribute back to the product. So none of that great progress would be possible without our partners' help. So a lot of the launches that you see examples of on the right become possible with the work of Cora, obviously GH Experience, and many others. So with that, I want to switch gears and talk a bit more about the case studies that we've done for the most recent launches. So one of these launches is Eleganza, that is a leading skincare brand that was acquired by L'Oreal. They saw on their previous website that more than 80% of their traffic came from mobile, but the conversion on mobile was significantly lagging behind the conversion of the desktop. And they were looking for the options to improve that by optimizing the mobile experience without having the overhead of creating native apps for different platforms. And they also wanted to support not only their returning customers, but also new users. So those considerations resulted in Eleganza choosing Magento PWA and partnering with Cora to deliver app-like experience for their returning and new customers. And the improvements that they've seen after launching PWA website was quite impressive. They compared the holiday period of the last year with the previous holiday season that happened before the PWA launch, and the results they've shared is 85% increase in mobile conversion rate and 150% increase in mobile transactions. Another example is Eleganza. It's a well-known high-end fashion retailer in Netherlands. They sell brands, premium brands like Versace, Michael Kors, Valentino, and such. And with the end of life for Magento 1, they saw the opportunity to transform their customer experience and deliver more engaging native app shopping environment with the Magento PWA. So partnering with Experience, they deliver optimized shopping experience that focuses on ease of use. They streamlined their user navigation and eliminated the need of standard navigation pattern with the back button that basically defines like the most of the browser experience. They also integrated and enhanced shopper experience by adding some of the local payment solutions and enabled a true omni-channel experience. So the results that they've seen after launching a new website with Magento PWA was the 76 increase in page views per session and 23% decrease in average page load time. So the general trend we see from the customer launches is that it's not only the conversion rate improves and the performance gets better, but also the engagement of customers. Customers spend much more time and they are more engaged with the website that deliver more seamless and integrated shopper experience. So switching gears more towards our vision and where we go with Venya. I'm sure that you had the opportunity to play with Venya yourself at venyamagento.com. If you haven't, I highly encourage you to do so. So Venya, for those who haven't seen that, it's a production-ready solution that is similar to Luma reference theme that you're familiar with the traditional Magento storefront. It provides a starting point for the PWA development with the fully refreshed modern look and the GraphQL components that leverage throughout the experience, and all of the best practices for the shopper experiences are baked in. So a couple of highlights to share about the recent updates to PWA Studio that we've made. So the most recent version is now PWA 10. We released that in April with the desktop optimization for the mega menu, extension to the checkout with the static payment methods, and ability to add more payment methods in a more extensible and scalable way. We added the multi-store support, supporting the localization and multi-store setup, and included also several performance improvements. The next PWA version is coming up soon with Magento 2.3 release in August. With that, we released the full support for the wish list that includes scenarios of adding products to the wish list from the category page, from the product details page, and also saving products for later purchase from the cart, and ability to move products from the wish list to the cart. Also, we continue to improve the desktop experience with Venya and introduce desktop optimized layer navigation and several significant quality improvements. So speaking about the roadmap, later this year, we're going to introduce the new theming concept that will streamline the front-end developer workflow related to the storefront styling that enables support of different themes applied on different scopes further when we have full support of the multi-website setup. Big focus remains on maturing Venya and adding more features that are supported out of the box. This year, we're gonna add product attribute support in areas such as the product details page, product listing page, layered navigation, and content in general, so that enables merchant to better control their narrative around the products and allow their shoppers to filter and find product information in a more flexible way without having a dependency on developers to add that to the PWA storefront. Category listing page gets further enhancements with the add to cart button and swatch support also later this year. The big focus remains for us on performance optimization, especially with the Google Lighthouse to to respect more of a shopper of like user experience in terms of their ranking websites for the Google search results. So we are going to improve their and reduce the layout shift by introducing shimmer skeleton that are specific to the page types for the pages like product listing, product details, and other that have very different layout. And this shimmer template is going to be part of their theming concept. So for the front-end developer, it would be easy to style those shimmer templates based on their custom theme that's going to be used on a production website. For their later, like basically speaking, next year, we will introduce the full integrated SSR solution with the new infrastructure that we are working right now, and keep focusing on extensibility and ability to add in a more flexible and scalable way new payments and new shipping methods to the checkout experience. And as I was saying earlier, for the Venia features, we are going to introduce further content improvements in a targeted segmentation with the dynamic block support, with the ability to preview the changes that made on the back end with the staging and preview functionality using Venia Storefront. So these are the key highlights that I wanted to share on roadmap. As I'm wrapping up, I want to share a couple of useful links that could help to start with Magento PWA. We have documentation around Magento PWA and GraphQL. We have the public roadmap that we keep updating on a regular basis. So follow that on the GitHub. And I think that's it from my side. If there are questions, I'm here to answer those.
Thank you so much, Olena. That was so insightful and full of information. It was an amazing session, and I really didn't want to interrupt you earlier to ask any questions. I think the question I would like to ask you quickly before we wrap this up is clients that do consider moving into a PWA with Magento, what should they take into consideration before doing so?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there, the main thing that I suggest to think of is the business objectives that are considered as like driving things for going with the PWA and understanding and choosing the right partner to go with. We see a lot of successes with the PWA when the partner has experience with Magento PWA Studio involved. That definitely helps to streamline the process of addressing the business needs that are defined up front. And as I was saying earlier, choosing PWA allows to start small and grow over time, and this is a great advantage for those who consider to launch some like particular experience for their customers and not do that full transition to PWA.
Amazing. Thank you so very much for this detailed presentation on all the information that you provided. I really appreciate all the effort that you made and for being here with us today.